Hello, my friends. Welcome to another chair yoga video. I'm Nina G, and I'm delighted that you've joined me today. I'm calling this practice the unhurried breath, an opportunity to take some time apart from the busy, crazy world and just connect. A little self-compassion and kindness. That's what we'll be doing today. All you need is your chair, and I'm going to show you a mudra that we're going to use to start and end our practice. It's called Karuna Mudra, Karuna being the word for compassion. So we're going to take both hands, we're going to cup them gently, and we'll take the fingers of our left hand, the fingertips of the left hand, bring them to the base of the fingers of the right hand. Just gentle. And then we'll take that left thumb and nestle it right next to the first joint of the right thumb. So it just kind of sits right there. Now these hands can rest in front of the heart. They can rest in front of your belly when you're seated. And that's all we need to get started. So as we arrive in our chair with our Karuna Mudra, the invitation is to soften or close your eyes and take a moment to check in with the body, noticing without judging. Notice how you feel today. How's the physical body today? And then notice your energy level. Probably has a lot to do with how you slept last night, what you've done so far today. Just check in, no judgment. And then finally, take a moment to notice what's going on mentally and emotionally. Is there a lot of chatter in that head today, or are things relatively calm? Again, just a check-in, no judgment, no changing. And then tune your attention to the breath, the unhurried breath. Let it be slow and smooth. Now we'll release our mudra. If you need to wiggle those fingers or turn hands at wrists, please do. And then we're going to stack those palms at heart center. Eyes may be opened or closed. When we inhale, we're going to open those arms softly wide. As we exhale, we're going to gather in that self-compassion. Bring hands back to heart. Let the inhale open the arms wide again. And as we exhale, we gather in kindness now. We'll do that again, inhaling. Self-compassion. Inhale. Bring in that kindness. Let the hands rest at heart center. And take a moment now to set an intention for this practice. It might be this idea of self-compassion and kindness, or it might be anything else that's important to you today. And then we'll release those hands down to the lap. Now, if you were sitting back in your chair, I would ask you to slide forward so that your feet are really firmly connected to the earth. And we also want to pay attention to our sitting bones. And we'd like our shoulders to be over the hips. We'll let our hands rest in the lap. Sit up tall. Your gaze is straight ahead. Let's take a breath in. And as we exhale, we'll drop the chin down to the chest. Let it rest there. Let the back of the neck get longer and let the head be heavy. Now on your next inhale, very gently roll that right ear towards right shoulder. You might notice sensations in the left side of your neck. Hands are just resting gently in your lap. And then very carefully roll the chin back down to the chest. Let it rest there. Heavy head. On our next inhale, we'll very carefully take that left ear towards left shoulder, thinking about both shoulders just softening down for the floor. Perhaps noticing sensation in the right side of the neck. And continuing to breathe that unhurried breath. And then very carefully lower the chin back down to the chest. Our next inhale will bring the head back to neutral. Take a moment and notice how that neck feels. And with those hands still resting on the lap, we're going to begin to make some shoulder circles one at a time. So I'm going to take one shoulder forward, up, back and down, and then the other. Bringing some motion into that upper back, into the shoulders. A little bit of a twisting motion. I'm just letting my hands trace on my thighs, but if your arms are longer, they might just rest there. That's okay. Notice the sensations in the upper back as you do this. And while I'm not tying my movement to my breath, I am breathing. So even out those circles, pause, let the hands rest in the lap. And then we'll take our arms wide, softly wide. So always being aware of your shoulders, and if they don't want to be out here or up here, we can always take it to a little cactus. No problem. So we'll take an inhale here. And as we exhale, we're going to tip to the right. You can bring that right hand to the chair, to the thigh. And then we'll let the inhale bring us back to center. The exhale will take us the other way. Come back to center. So a side body stretch. Again, that top arm might be long and up over the ear, or you might bring hand to shoulder. But this is a good place to practice the unhurried breath. We'll do one more on each side. And then float the arms back down to your lap when you've finished. Pause and take a moment to notice the sensations in side body. And we're just going to check in with our posture again, making sure sitting bones are even on the chair, shoulders are over hips, and we're sitting up tall. I find that I tend to shift forward a little bit, so I want to make sure that my shoulders are over my hips. We'll release the arms down alongside the body now. They're actively reaching for the floor, so there's energy coming out my fingertips. I'm going to drop my chin to my chest again and let the head be heavy. Very carefully on that next inhale, I'll take that right ear over towards right shoulder. And now I might notice a little difference in the stretch in the left side of my neck because my fingers are actively reaching for the floor. If you like, you can take your hand up maybe an inch or two and notice if that changes things. Softening the shoulders from the ears even as we breathe in this pose. Now float the arm back down. Take both hands to your lap. Drop the chin back down to your chest. Take a breath here. Release both arms back down, engage, and then very carefully take left ear towards left shoulder. Breathing here. Perhaps lifting that right arm an inch or two, noticing how that changes the sensations in the right side of the neck. Release any tension in the arms. Let them rest in your lap. Roll the chin down to the chest. And then sit up tall. Now we're going to repeat those shoulder rolls with the option this time to lead with the elbow. A little bit more of a backstroke perhaps, if that serves your shoulders. You could even make the arms a little bit longer. Now, if that doesn't feel good in your shoulders, you go back to where we started. Bringing some movement into the upper back, into the shoulder blades. A little bit of a twist as well. And then even things out. Let the hands rest in your lap. Check in. And we're going to move back to that lateral stretch, but this time we're going to get into the pose and stay there. So we'll start with our arms wide, soft shoulders. And as we inhale, we'll take that left arm up. Right arm can come to the chair or the thigh. If the neck allows, you might turn and look at the elbow crease of your left hand. Breathing into the space on the left side of the rib cage. That slow, unhurried breath. And then on your next inhale, let the arms open wide. Float the arms down. Take a breath. And we'll do the other side. So we'll take arms wide. On our next inhale, whenever that may be, the right arm goes up, left hand comes to the edge of the chair or to the lap. And we breathe here, perhaps looking at that elbow crease on the right hand, or you can look straight ahead or down. Your neck will let you know. And then on your next inhale, float the arms wide, sit up tall, and bring the hands down to your lap. Notice how all of that feels in the body. So with our hands in our lap now, we're going to do our cow and cat movements. When we inhale, we'll arch the back, we'll lift that sternum, the chin, the gaze. And when we exhale, we'll engage the core round, separating shoulder blades, drop the chin. Continue that way. Follow your unhurried breath, which might be faster or slower than mine. We're just bringing some movement into the spine. And after your next exhale, whenever that may be, we'll come back to that nice tall spine, letting the hands rest in the lap. Okay, let's pick up, I'm going to pick up my left foot. I'm going to turn my foot at the ankle. Ooh. Go one way and then the other, getting ready for some standing. And do some pointing and flexing. If you need to slide back in your chair in order to do this, please do. Yeah. And then we'll put our foot back down, switch to the other leg. So, ooh, there we go. Circle my foot at the ankle. It's always interesting, the sounds that come out. Go in both directions and do your pointing and your flexing. And then put that foot back on the ground. Now, I'm going to just move a little bit so you can see me. Connect your feet back to the earth. Sit up tall. Let's take a breath in here. And as we exhale, we're going to pick up just the right heel, but push down with your right hand. So a little bit of core engagement. Inhale, lower the heel, release the hand. Now as we exhale, we're going to lift the left heel and push down with left hand. Inhale, release, let that go. Okay, so we'll add in a little lift of the hands so that we can actually see what's happening. And between the thigh and the hand, we're going to have a little dynamic tension. So that thigh is pushing up, but your hand is pushing down. So let's inhale, lift the hands a few inches. As you exhale, lift your right heel. Let's float both hands down on top of that right thigh. Engage the core as you exhale. Inhale, take both hands up. And now when we exhale, we're going to pick up the left heel, push down with both hands. Inhale, come on back up. Float both hands down. Take a breath. Okay, what if we pick up both heels and bring both hands down? We'll try that too. So let's inhale, float the arms up. And when we exhale, we're going to lift both heels. We're going to push both hands down into the thighs. As the thighs push up, core is engaged. And then we'll inhale, release the heels down, float the arms up. Let the arms float down. We'll do that one more time. Inhaling, arms. Exhale, heels lift. That lifts up the thighs. The hands come down. We engage the core. We lift up. Heels lower. And then we float the arms down. Take a breath and notice how that feels. And now we're going to come to standing. So let's pull our heels back so that they're just slightly behind the knees. We're going to hinge forward from the hips. We're sitting close to the edge of the chair. We push down into the feet and make our way back up to standing. There we go. Okay, once you've found your standing, right? Once you've made it to standing, you might want to go around to the back of the chair. I'm going to move my chair just so that I can use it if I want to, but I don't want it to be in the way of the camera. Okay, so find your mountain pose. Find your mountain pose. Feet straight ahead. They're parallel. I have about 1 of my fist distance between my feet. We'll take a real easy sun breath here. An unhurried sun breath. We'll inhale, circle and sweep the arms up. And as you exhale, float the arms back down. Yeah. Try that again. No hurries, no place to go, nothing to do but practice yoga. Now, you can always use one hand holding onto the back of the chair. Another interesting choice would be to put your back to the wall. It's a good, like a lifesaver. So if your back is to the wall, you don't have to lean on it, but if you're going to fall, boop, it's right there. So that's another choice. But our next 3 breaths, we have the choice to continue as we did, unhurried, sun breath, or we might lift the heels and come into a moving mountain. So take your time, see how that feels. Lowering the heels as you exhale. Last one, however you're doing it. And then pause. With both heels on the ground, you can wiggle, jiggle. Notice how things feel in the body. So we have the chair here. We know we can always use it with our fingertip control to help us with balance. But we're going to move into a chair pose now, right? Not sitting in the chair, but a pretend chair. So let's take those arms forward and up. See how that feels in the body. This is that unhurried breath. And as we exhale, we're going to sit into our little chair. Arms come forward. Doesn't have to be very deep. Then we're going to inhale, straighten the legs, reach arms back up. Float the arms back down. So chair pose, working with some bigger muscles in the lower body. Let's give it a try again. Inhaling, reaching the arms forward and up, no hurry. And that exhale takes us to our little chair. Knees bend, hips go back, arms come forward. The next inhale straightens the legs, arms go up, and we float everything back down. Pause here and take a breath. See how that feels. And we're going to do a little flow now, tying everything together. The side body, the chair, perhaps the lift up onto the toes. Always, the chair is always an option for support. The wall behind you might be nice too. Give it a try. So from our mountain pose, we find that stability of a mountain. As we inhale, we're going to reach the arms forward and up. As we exhale, I'm going to grab my right wrist and lean to the left. Inhale, come back through center. Switch the grip. Exhale, lean right. Inhale, come back through center. Release the grip. As we exhale, we're going to float those arms down to the thighs, bending the knees. So right here, right now, you're pushing hands into thighs, thighs into hands. Next inhale, reach the arms forward, chair pose. Stay here for the exhale. Now, when we inhale, let's straighten the legs, float the arms down, perhaps come up onto our heels. Exhale, lower the heels, hips go back, chair pose. We'll try that again. Inhaling, straightening legs, arms float back. You might come up onto your toes. And you exhale, sit back into your chair. Stay here for another breath, and inhale. And an exhale. And then we'll push into both feet, reach the arms up. Float the arms all the way back down by your side. Take a breath. Notice how that feels. It's a little breath-led sequence, no hurries. We'll repeat it again now that we know what to do. And remember, when these hands come down to the thighs, that core is engaged, just like we did when we were sitting down. Okay? So start in mountain pose, feet straight ahead. Inhaling the arms forward and up. I'll grab my right wrist, and as I exhale, I'm going to lean to the left, both feet on the ground. The inhale brings me back to center so that I can switch hands. And as I exhale, I tip to the right. The inhale brings me back to center. I release the wrist. As I exhale, the knees bend. I float my hands down, hips go back. I've got that connection to my thighs. On an inhale, I release the arms forward. There's my chair pose. Stay here for the exhale. Now the next inhale, I start to straighten the legs, float the arms down, perhaps behind me, maybe lift heels. And exhale, heels lower, sit back into that little chair. Do it again. One more time like that. Stay here. On our next inhale, we'll straighten the legs, reach the arms up, and float the arms down by your side. Notice those sensations in the body. Notice what's going on in the nervous system. Are we shifting any closer to a sense of calm? Okay, we're going to take a slightly wider stance now. These are my hips. My feet are just slightly wider. My toes are out. And when I bend my knees, they're tracking over toes 2 and 3. They're not in, but they're out, okay? So let's straighten the legs. Let's bring hands back to heart center. Maybe notice what hand's on top. When we inhale, we'll take those arms wide. As we exhale, we're going to gather in that self-compassion, bend knees into our goddess pose. Inhale, legs straight and arms go wide. Exhale, bring in kindness. Continue. Bring in that compassion. Kindness. Now we're going to open the arms wide. Bend the knees, come into that little squat. Keeping the arms wide, imagining all those good things, the kindness, the compassion raining down on you. Continue with your unhurried breath. And then we'll bring those hands back to heart center, straighten the legs. Step your feet back together. Notice how that feels in the body. Okay, we will do a little tree pose before we make our way back to our chair. So, back to the wall might be a great choice. You could have a wall next to you as well. But I'm going to start now with my big toes touching. My feet are straight ahead, my big toes are touching. Let's stack palms at heart center again. I'm going to shift my weight into my right leg and bend my left knee and find a tree pose here. I could put my left heel on my right foot. I could bring it to my ankle. I could slide it up. But I'm going to find some balance here. I would recommend that your gaze is forward and down. So you're probably looking at a spot on the floor in front of you, maybe 6 to 8 feet in front of you on the floor. Once you've found some balance, you might open those arms softly and gather in all that self-compassion and kindness again. Or you could keep your hands at heart, anywhere you want your tree branches to be. And then take 3 unhurried breaths here. When you've completed that breath, bring hands back to heart. Release the knee forward, step out of the pose. You can do a little wiggle jiggle, shake out the standing leg. And we'll get set up for the other side. So hands at heart. Now I'm going to shift my weight into my left leg, bend my right knee. Find tree on this side. It may be different than the first side. That's okay. Once you've found your balance, you find your gaze, then you might decide to do something with those arms, those branches. That's up to you. But we'll take 3 unhurried breaths here. And then bring hands back together. Back to heart. Release the knee forward. Step out of the pose. Wiggle, jiggle, take things out, whatever you need. Now, to bring a little symmetry back into the body, we'll step to the back of the chair. Behind the chair, we're going to bring our fingertips to the chair. And we'll step back, softening into the knees, letting hips go back, finding that length in the spine. So you might drop your ears between your biceps. That might feel good. Knees are soft. My knees are pretty bent here, and I have a chance to lengthen that lower back. Come back to that unhurried breath. This pose, this downward facing dog, is basically what this is. This is a wonderful way to practice kindness and self-compassion. You can do this at a table, at a countertop. Feels good. Now we're going to soften into our knees. We're going to walk towards the chair. Yeah. And then we're going to sit down. Okay, I moved my furniture. I actually grabbed my block, and we're going to slide back into the chair. So I'd like you to feel comfortable and supported, but I also want your feet to connect to the floor. And if your chair and your legs are such that they connect directly to the floor, don't worry. You could also use a pillow, a rolled up blanket to connect to the earth. Once you get there, let's turn palms up. And the invitation is to soften or close your eyes. Let's come back to the unhurried breath. And then very carefully, let's bring a little bit of movement into fingers and wrists. We can wiggle our toes. And we're going to move to the edge of the chair now, connecting our feet directly to the floor, finding that connection of the sitting bones to the chair, shoulders over hips. If you like, you can come back to your Karuna Mudra, left fingertips at the base of the right fingers, and then that left thumb tucks in next to the right. And take a moment here now to notice how your physical body feels. Notice your energy levels. And then notice mental and emotional state. Have we been able to move any closer to a sense of calm? I hope so. Now we'll release that mudra. We'll stack palms at heart center. And we're going to open those arms wide one last time, gathering that self-compassion, gathering that kindness, and bring it into the heart. Bring it into the heart. You can recall your intention. And then let's release those hands back down to the lap. Take a circle with the shoulders. Have a wonderful day, my friends. Take time to take an unhurried breath. Stay well, and I'll see you again next time.